everyone, Therese here. Welcome to this week's Karma Cards. So the messages that are coming in from the team very much have to do with where we are in the energetic cycle. So we have a couple events happening right now that are guiding us in how to focus. And these two events that I want to look at are the upcoming full moon in Virgo and the spring equinox right behind it. So these are almost back-to-back events that are happening. The full moon in Virgo is the last full moon of the Earth's natural cycle. So when we talk about the Earth's natural cycle, I'm talking about the seasons, right? So we're at the last full moon of a natural cycle before we go into a brand new cycle. So you can almost look at the spring equinox as the Earth's new year, the beginning of the new year for Earth herself. So we have a full moon happening right before that happens. It's the last one. And full moons, again, are all about releasing and letting go. And that's one of the messages coming through from my team right now, is that we're being asked to let go of preconceived ideas that you're holding on about yourself, about how your energy works specifically. So I'm going to get into that in a little bit. So we've got the full moon, which is all about letting go. And then we have, I believe it's on Sunday, the 20th of March. That's when the spring equinox is. And that's all about the rebirthing, right? It's the beginning of spring. It's the rebirth. It's a whole new cycle of time. And these two events coming so close together really talks about transformation. So going back to the message that's coming through from the team is asking us to really let go of thoughts we hold about ourselves that no longer align to who you actually are. And I sort of touched on this last week when I was talking about time to own who you are becoming. So that's the spring you're about to walk into, is who you're about to become. We also have to let go of who we thought we were. And we have a tendency to hold on to a lot of self-limiting beliefs. These are things that aren't serving us. They're the thoughts that hold us in place and create a feeling of static energy, even though that's not how energy moves. Energy is never static. It doesn't hold. It's always moving around. It's always flowing. That's why change is a constant. But we have a feeling of static energy because this is holding on to what we think we are. When we get a self-concept, our mind tends to latch onto it, right? We tend to create a belief about ourselves and then constantly verify it. We're constantly looking for verification. So we reinforce that belief, and that's why our life can feel static. It's actually not our life that's static. In fact, if you think about your life is constantly changing. You're being presented with new events that are outside of your control, new opportunities, other people shifting around you, which can create a shift in your own sphere. So life itself is always fluid and moving. It's the belief we hold about ourselves that's static, and it creates that sensation of sameness in us because we're constantly trying to reinforce what we believe about ourselves. That's a fact. We're going to make sure we're always right by proving ourselves true. So the message is about learning how to let go of the static thoughts. And an interesting message came up over the week, came through for a client, but I've found myself saying it several times to other people because it is so resonant and it sort of speaks to this energy. So I'm going to try and take you through the thought and hopefully you can follow it with me. Sometimes the things that I get are so abstract and I'm like, I get it. And then I try to share it and people are like, no. So let's see. So what the team had said was like, the seasons, you always expect the seasons, right? You expect spring to come. You expect summer, winter, fall. You expect them all to come. That's the given. And so just like that, we expect certain things, like a certain amount of energy or a certain amount of productivity from ourselves. But the team asked us to look at the quality of each of the seasons and do they look the same? So meaning think about the winter that's just happened. It's almost ending, right? This winter. Think about how the weather was. Let's look at that. That's an easy thing to track, weather. Notice what the weather was doing. Now think about the year before. Now think about the year before that, and you're going to see that it was the same season, different energy. One was milder, one was much more intense, right? One felt longer, one felt shorter. So referring back to us, what they're saying is that there are certain things that you can expect. Like you can expect to wake up the next day and try to get things done. But a lot of times what we do is we hold ourselves static, meaning I expect myself to have the same quality of energy that I had yesterday, or that I had 5 months ago, or that I had the last time I did this. Like I'll give you a personal example. When I was younger, I had gotten really into running. I was really into it. It was like right after I had my first child, and it just felt aligned for me. And I got up to the point where I could run 10 miles. And so in my head, because I had achieved that, I did the work and achieved that, I held that as my standard. And so years later, I would run from time to time. I never got in a full 10 miles after that period was over. So I moved, change of scenery, change of location, different time, different landscape, all of that contributed to it. But I wasn't running 10 miles at a time, nor would I want to now. That's the funny part. As I look at it, I'm like, I would not want to do that now. At the time, I had really enjoyed it. But I had this idea in my head that was my standard. That's what I can do. And of course, I'd run from time to time. And I had the opportunity to join a marathon, and it was like a 9-mile marathon or something like that. And I remember thinking in my head, like, I can absolutely do this. Like, I've done it before. I can do it. Now, those of you who are proficient in exercise, you already know what's coming. For those of us who hold ourselves static around exercise, you also know what's coming. I was not able to achieve that level of energy, even with a little training. I wasn't able to do it. My body reacted very differently after it was over. I remember the first time I did it and the marathon was over, and I had a very different after response. The second time, my body did not like it, and I had a very intense after response that I didn't expect. But my point is that just because you've been through something before, including your day, you went through your day yesterday, the energy is a different quality today. And it's not just the spacing of time. It's not aging. It's not like, oh, I had all this vitality back then and I don't now. No, it's the quality is different. There's little things that contribute to the quality of our experience every day, right? It's about like how much emotional output did you have? Yes, age is a part of it. Diet's a part of it. Shifts in hormones are a part of it. And that, I'm just talking about the physical stuff, but that affects us too in our productivity, in our energy levels. And what I'm running into is I have a lot of clients and friends who are high capacity people that can really put out a lot of output that's impressive, right? They can really apply themselves and put in the effort. And what I see repeating, though, is that they have a high expectation of themselves to do that every day. And they hold themselves to a standard that is not accounting for the quality of their energy on any given day. And especially if there are emotional factors that are new and physical vitality factors that are new, those don't really get taken into account there because there's a static belief of what I'm capable of achieving. And that seems to override the quality of the conditions. And so what happens here is that what happens when you can't meet the standard in your head? What happens to you when you can't meet that? Well, you tend to start breaking down a little, right? You fall apart, you're disappointed in yourself, perhaps the self-talk gets down, then it creates the vicious cycle of downward flowing energy where, you were already having a hard time, then you beat yourself up for it, and then the next day it's even harder to get to, and then if you can't meet your expectations again. It keeps going down and down and down. And so we slowly chip away at ourselves. And the point of this conversation is to let you know that it's the thinking that needs to be let go. So even if you see yourself as a highly productive person, some of that needs to be let go of. It doesn't mean that you can't believe that about yourself, or that you can't have a standard for that. But right now we're being asked to let go of the thoughts about ourselves, to completely set ourselves free from it, so that we can be more in the moment, because we're doing this really big transition in energy. It's not just the cosmos that goes through it. We go through a frequency of what the cosmos is doing. That's why we look at astrology, because the dance that's happening above us, where we get the ripples of that effect. It's like throwing a stone in a pond, right? The stone is being thrown up in the sky, and the sky, the dance of the cosmos, is doing the rippling, but that ripples down to us too, and it creates quality. And then of course our environment reverberates to us and creates quality. Where our attention has to go creates quality. All these ripples that are happening, and we're being asked this week to just let go of the self concept. Now this is really, even as I say this, I'm like, because I do work on myself about self-concept. I believe mindset is incredibly important, and I value having a high self-concept, seeing yourself as having great potential. So even I struggle with this message a little, because I'm like, letting go. But what we're being asked to do is bypass that for now and go up to that spiritual level and be in beingness, so that we can ride this wave of transformation, let go of the old, bring in the new. And for the next week here, we're being asked to, can we detach from that, so that when we come back to self-concept, we can come back purified. We can come back a little cleaner, with a clean slate, and go, right, self-concept, right? That's something I use to navigate through the 3D plane. So, and I want to be able to have a self-concept that supports me rather than one that's damaging. But we're being asked to clear, like take the eraser and wipe the board clean, and let ourselves be in a being state for this next week. Now, there's more that the cards have to say around that, but I want you to share with me in the comments, how's that feel to you? Does that feel like, are you like, yep, ready? Let's just clear away as much as I can about who I am, what I'm capable of, what I do, what are my limits, what others think about me. I want to clear all that away. I'm so up for it. Like, just put thumbs up or hearts or something in the comments so I can see if that's you. If you're feeling like me, like it's like, whoa, I've been working so hard on adjusting my self-concept, and the idea of letting it go is a little scary, because what happens to all that work I did? If that's you, you can raise your hand, put your hand up in the put it, hand up, or me in the comments, so I can see like who's there with me. I totally understand that. And yet there is a power into surrendering that too. It's, once you've built it once, you can build it again. And every time you build it, you can create a better version of it. So it's interesting if we have trouble letting go of surrender, because there's a control issue there. Oh no! Not a control issue. Yes, there's a control issue there. If letting it even go for a day or two, or a whole week, if you're brave enough, of just moving into being. I'm in a being state. So that means I'm more present with my surroundings. I'm present with others. I'm not trying to put an overlay on anything. I'm just trying to interact from a pure place of being. What would that do? What would that do for us if we allowed that to happen? I'm not sure, but I'm curious enough to give it a try. So for the next week, see if we can let go of everything we're trying to build ourselves to be, whether we're simply trying to let go of an old concept, in which case this should feel like lovely work because you could just let it go. Or are you trying to build something, and the idea of letting go of control of that, like, how does that make you feel? Because as soon as we do, we've got a new perspective. If we tried living from that being space, what could we bring back to the table when we go to address our concept again, address ourselves again? What would it bring to the table? So let's get curious together and give it a try. And with that, I've got some karma cards for you. So let's get into it. Right, for those who are new to karma cards, let me quickly show you how these work. I have 3 decks here: planets, signs of the zodiac, and the houses of astrology. And I've already asked my team, what is the message you have for us this week? And I've got 2 sets of answers. One in red, which are action related, and another set in blue, which are outcome related. And the way that you play is you tune into yourself and feel, what do I need in this upcoming week? Do I need action related answers, or am I looking for how things are resolving, so outcomes? So use your intuition, tune into that, and of course you can always choose both. And while you're choosing, let me tell you the timing for this reading. This reading is for the 18th through the 24th of March. And the flavor of this reading, we've got Saturn. So that is about karmic cleanup right there, right? Responsibility, karmic cleanup, structuring, all of that fun stuff. In the sign of Leo, which is about our leadership, right? It's our radiance and what we give out, and our creativity, all connected to Leo. In the 4th house, the 4th house representing our past self, our roots, where we come from, our family, and also our sense of security, what makes us feel secure. So our roots are foundation. All right, for those who are choosing action, your spiritual action is to be realistic about leadership as you did in the past. The as you did in the past is what's throwing me, because that comes from the 4th house, right? That's referring to foundational. So part of this, I guess, is being asked to look at what we felt leadership was from a past perspective. And I think also it's because we're going to be asked in the future here to reassess that. What is leadership? But we have to start from where we're coming from. Like, what do I think leadership means now before I can adjust it? Because there are some exciting adjustments that can be made around that word and that concept. So we're being asked to look at our concept of leadership and get a start point. So I can already tell this reading is all about, like, what's your start point? And that's the thing that we're being asked also to clear. Your concept. What's the belief system you're holding? Mental action at this time. Be concerned about the creativeness of your home or family base. So again, what I'm really getting for this is the word base is the most important one. And yes, your home is your personal energy, right? That's your personal start point. It's where you feel the most like yourself. So it's again talking about foundation. What's the creativeness of your foundation? And again, if we go to the message that came through earlier, when it says be concerned about the creativeness of your foundation in yourself is your self-concept, your self-belief. What do you believe about yourself? I think we're being asked again to look at that, because we have a lot of people out there. This is a common thing. It's not exclusive to any one type of person. Many people hold this. We have self-limiting belief systems. It's designed, right? I've talked about this so many times, you're probably bored of hearing me mention it, but there's a control structure that's designed it's very clever in its design, but it's meant to have you feel less than. It is meant to trigger less than feelings, which means most of us have a self-limiting belief system about ourselves. We tend to sabotage ourselves, not intentionally, but it's like you try to do something bigger than what you believe you're capable of, you're going to make yourself right. So if you don't believe you're capable, you're going to look for ways to prove that to yourself, that I'm not capable of this. So they're asking us to be concerned about it because it limits our creative ability, which is why we're being asked to not just drop the self-limiting beliefs, but drop all beliefs right now so you can clear the deck and build it back to something that is more productive for you. Physical action at this time. You must wait before you can do what you want to and do what makes you feel secure. Okay. Again, I feel like in the sense of this reading, that you must wait thing, this is all talking about proactively using self-concept in a way that would support you, right? Building a self-belief system that allows you to go after your bigger dreams, to go after your goals, to go after the life that you deserve, your destiny. You're going to need a self-concept that matches you getting it, okay? At this time, we're not being told, go for it. We're being told, wait. We're being told, clear the deck. We're being told, it's like in a breath cycle, it would be the hold in the middle. So if you've ever done like triangular breathing, it's breathe in, hold, breathe out, right? So we're in the hold spot, which is the wipe the slate clean, just be without needing to be something. Just be. And then you can move into and do what you want to make you feel secure. So it's what's coming up for me as I'm hearing this is like, I wonder what that's going to bring up for us, right? I would assume, I haven't done it fully, but I would assume that if I was just releasing myself of any need to be something and I just was being, I think I'd feel more secure. That's my thought. What's yours? Do you think that holding pattern, the clearing and waiting without doing, without assigning anything, would that create more security in your mind, or would you feel like that would create an insecurity? What's your thoughts on that? Let me know in the comments. Okay, so now let's see what the outcomes are over this week. So again, we're looking at the 18th, which is the date of the full moon, all the way to March 24th. So again, kind of the beginning of spring, but not fully into it yet. It's just the tip top of spring that we're looking at. So let's see what these outcomes are in this week. What is it going to bring us to pause everything? Either the doubt and even the belief, the bad beliefs, the good beliefs. What if we just paused them all? What's the outcome of that? The spiritual outcome is the maturity that brings self-confidence to create what makes you feel secure. I will do it for that. Wouldn't you? I'm going to say it again because I would do it for that. It says the maturity, love it, that brings self-confidence, love it, to what makes you feel secure. Yes. Yes. That's a reason to do it. I'm there. I'm on. I'm in. Mental outcome at this time. Caution regarding taking a chance on support. So maybe it'll be tempting during that window where you're just trying to be as much as you can, doing your best. It would be tempting to reach out for validation. It would be tempting to maybe try and get someone to do it for you or with you. Maybe trying to enroll someone to show you how to do it. And we're getting a hold on a minute message here. So it's not saying no, but it is saying this is something that you need to give yourself a chance to do. So taking a chance on support, that would be receiving support from something. I get the feeling that before you go running to someone to show you how, just try. Just do it. It's not necessarily something that requires another presence. In fact, presence doesn't require anybody else. You've got it. It's your present being state, right? So don't outsource it. You don't need to be coached through it. You don't need to be guided by someone else's meditation. It's going to take you out of your space. And that's why they're giving a caution here. They're not saying you can't. Like, let's just say you're like, I'm trying to be, but this one meditation always helps me center. Then, of course, use that, right? So it's not a no. It's just give it a try on your own, of your own volition, and see what happens. There's more juice there in that, doing it that way. Doing it from, what do I think that means? How do I clear this? I'm just going to try. I'm going to try. I'm not going to look for a book on it. I'm not going to like sit down and listen to a lecture. I'm not going to refer back to the karma cards even. I'm just going to go and just sit and just, I am, right? The I am statement. Physical outcome at this time, limits imposed resulting from the impressiveness of your home base or family. So again, foundation. Yeah, I do get, so part of what I get with this statement is that what they're asking from us isn't such an easy feat. If it was, you'd be doing it already. You'd be doing it more, and you'd probably be moving into this place naturally. We'd naturally be letting go of self-concept. And remember too, not only are you trying to release your own self-concept, but you're trying to release the concept others hold over you, which is equally as challenging. It's challenging. Anybody who's done personal growth, anyone who has transformed themselves in some way knows that feeling of having moved through something else and still being held in a belief system by someone else about who you are. It's based on the past, your past behavior, actions, thoughts, words, whatever. But it's still based on the past. It has nothing to do with the person standing here right now. And so I guess what we're going to experience is that while we're practicing this complete pause of, I pause my concept of self. I'm going to practice pausing my concept of self. Understand that that might only go so far as like your sacred space, meaning like wherever you're doing it, it might only go as far as there. As soon as my team's like popping. So as soon as we interact with another person, guess what's going to be projected or shown to us is like, this is my concept of you. You know, you're my mom, or you're my wife, or you're my friend, or my sister, or whatever it is. That's going to be mirrored to us. So of course, be gentle with yourself and understand that there might be a limit to how long you can hold this work. Like you might be able to hold it for really long until your friend calls you on the phone. And then you go right back into your thoughts about who you are, what you're capable of, what your limits are, and all of that. That doesn't mean you failed to do the task we're being asked to do. It just shows you that this is how it's tricky. This is how it's tricky. You know, if this was easy, we would all be doing it. We would set ourselves free. Remember, third density is the introduction of the ego. And the ego is the introduction of a concept of self, that I am an individual, right? So what they're asking us to practice is a form of transcendence, like to transcend out of that. They're not asking us to master it or be perfect. They're simply asking us to give ourselves the opportunity to do like a system reset here, where when we drop back in, we can drop back in more consciously and more intentionally, and therefore start really feeling our creative juices because we've let go of so much. We've let go of so much. So I hope this message is resonant for you. I hope it helps. I love reading your comments and I always answer them. So if you have any questions, if what I'm saying is resonating, let me know. If it's like, what? That makes no sense. Why would I do that? Great. Let me know, because I'd love to get those questions and like bring them to my team and be like, see, challenge team. Look at this. How would you answer that? So share. I love to hear from you. And with that, I'm sending you so much love. Thank you for watching. Subscribe now and hit the notification bell so that you know the next time I release a new video. Until then, stay magical.